Hello, everyone. Pomegranate juice. Pretty good for you. Hope you're doing well. Tonight, I want us together explore something a little deeper than what we have discussed it in previous videos. I want us to together go deeper into the understanding of why is it that we feel discomfort and pain through our lives because of things happen, specifically because of the breakup, and after the breakup, why you feel so feel anxious or helpless or not balanced. You feel something's terribly wrong. I want to go to the roots of it and find out. Even though in the past few years we've discussed, we touched on this subject through discussions on order and how our mind functions and how our consciousness is conditioned, and therefore the new development or the new situation is different than the situation and the norm and the order that we've been used to. Therefore, it causes us pain because everything is now out of jar compared to how it was. And we call that the order. Now, I want us to go a little bit further because you're now far more advanced than a few years ago. And so I want to explore with you, why do we even need order? Why is it that we get imbalanced when the old order changes to new? And why is it that we're constantly in pursuit of a certain order? What's the motivation of it? Why is our psyche in search and in pursuit of such order? And so together we can explore, and we may have some fun, and at the same time we may explore things that find some things and get more knowledgeable about the function of this psyche that supposedly has been messed up through the years, and they've given it to us broken. Now we're trying to figure it out, or hopefully fix it. Or at the most, you will, find that this was all nonsense, and you don't need to think about it, and it's all your your decision to make. You can either enjoy it with me or diss it if you wish, and keep on the old broken system going. So now let's begin. Let's begin. Why do we want order? We all happen to have some order of some kind in our life, and yet we get annoyed when the new things happen or the old order breaks up. If it's a breakup and relationship situation, that's obvious. The woman or the girlfriend or the partner leaves, and things change, and you feel helpless. And that's a sign of order has changed. Remember, we talked about it in the other videos. Now, why do we want order? Well, the mind, the brain, the way it works, it needs to pursue order to feel secure, to feel stable, to feel relaxed. Have you noticed when you are not doing much, you're not in the loop of anything, you feel your mind is agitated, is moving about, is thinking things that really is neither should be your concern or pleasant, or at least It's just chaotically doing things. And yet, when you start doing a puzzle, or when you do something, watch a movie, or when you do some exercise, or when you're doing some kind of counting beans or whatever it is that you do, clean up, or you're trying to cook, or trying to uh, clean some of the groceries you bought, or something that you're doing puts the mind at a controllable frequency. Something that you will see there's a diminish in thoughts that were annoying, or were chaotic, or were out of place. Why is that? Well, in one of my books, I've discussed, me, my psyche, and I've discussed that mind needs a home. And hopefully you've had the chance to take a look at it. It explains that when the mind, which is very capable and curious, and it's all about material process, and all these neurons and so on, and constantly are in motion, ends up feeling without a home, like a hobo that is walking around the streets and have no home. Because it has no home, it constantly has to walk about. Anywhere he tries to lodge, they'll kick him out, because that's not the place for him to be. So constantly has no choice but moving about. When the mind doesn't have a home, doesn't have a place, doesn't have a way, a place, a center, a location to consider that is home, to sit there, relax, then obviously, like the hobo, is moving about, because got no home, doesn't know where to go. Where's my address? I'm looking for it anywhere. Let me sit here at the beach. No, there, no, kick out. The police comes. You can't be here. So, the mind kind of feels like that when it doesn't know where is its place. So I don't want to get too far into that. You won't go buy the book. but, but that's enough for you to understand what I'm trying to come to talk about in the next sentence. And that means, so the mind is naturally agitated. And in order to bring tranquility to itself, through having been conditioned through the ages, our childhood and 1,000 years ago, and traditions and all that, is learned that it has to go to school, it has to do certain things, it has to do certain things that are expected from it by tradition, by rules of society, by parents, by guardians, by whatever. So it's been conditioned to do things, and while doing things, it finds that it belongs. It finds that there is a certain order, and feels secure. So, in order to feel secure, psychologically secure, and that's what we're all searching for, illusory psychological security, it has been conditioned to follow a certain order. To have order, to have psychological security. And in order for it to have order, it has learned that it has to follow certain process, follow doing something, like the math that we talked about, like the puzzle that we talked about, like the counting the beans that we talked about. Do something. And in life, we have learned that those some things that I just explained in life has translated itself into going to school, going to a job, working to make money, getting married, being with a girlfriend, having someone love him, having someone pay attention to him or her, All these are things that it's engaged in doing as it's been taught and conditioned to do, which he has learned through conditioning brings him order, which that order brings a certain kind of a psychological security. So, the psychological security that we search for comes from the order, and the order comes from a mechanical process, a mechanical doing, like the job, like the counting the beans. And these mechanical processes that creates our life, fragments of our life, pieces of our life, a routine. We do it so much that then eventually we get tired of it, and then we jump from it to another because we know we need some kind of an order, and we know the order is created by some kind of a mechanical process. So when whatever it is that we're doing, whether it's our job or sports or activity or fun or whatever it is that we're engaged in, which serves as our mechanical process, which brings the order, which brings the psychological security, once we outgrow it and we get bored of it, we switch to another job, to another project, to another maybe girlfriend, to another boyfriend. And we constantly have this mechanical process to continue in order to create that order, which would lead into that psychological security. And therefore, and we call that life, we call that living, which is really based on conditioning of what we've learned, that we have to follow, constantly do these sort of things, these mechanical processes. But in reality, there is no such necessity for having mechanical processing. And then having a girlfriend has created that order by having this, following this conditioning of having some kind of a mechanical process happening, which being with a girlfriend, having a relationship, is that mechanical process that we have created, part of our life, part of the mechanical processes, activities that we do in our life. So a relationship is also part of a mechanical process that keeps the mind in order, illusory order, which brings psychological security. And that's our motivation. So when the girl leaves, when your relationship ends, breaks up, a mechanical process that you were conditioned to have in order to create an order so then you will have psychological security is broken. And then you feel the order is not there because the mechanical process has been broken. The routine that what you've been used to be doing and seeing and experiencing every day, the relationship, the talk, the going this place, going that place, coming home to someone, being on the phone with that girl, or going places and identifying with that. These are all part of some of the mechanics, like a job that you do in order to keep that order in a different part of your life, part of scenario of your life. And this has been a mechanical process in order to create that order, which creates that psychological security. So in turn, the psychological security, pursuit of it, is exactly why you feel so depressed, devastated, because you've been used the mechanical process to create an order, to get psychological security, and you've been conditioned to only gain it, and you only think that by having this psychological security, then you really feel free and you're living, which is the actual mistake. You condition yourself to be getting hurt when things change, to feel devastated as you feel the norm has changed when things change. So relationship change, relationship breaks up, you feel the norm has changed, therefore my psychological security is gone, therefore I'm no good anymore, I'm not a human being anymore, I'm not part of the mechanical processing, I don't have a mechanical process in my mind goes crazy, start thinking about things because it's not following the norm that it's always been conditioned and used to follow while the relationship was together. So break it all. You don't need to have a mechanical process in your mind in order to create that order. Let's have no order, which having no order, that by itself is the order, which is free and independent from any other mechanical process, which would make you independent, which make you dependent on other people's roles in your life and relationships and any mechanical process, and which once breaks down, you feel devastated because you feel you're not part of the system anymore. You're not alive anymore because you're not following mechanical process. Your mind is busy, is not busy, therefore starts going back and forth and thinks weird and feels insecure. Your order is severed, and then your psychological security, which you've always been pursuing it to get it, feeling that would give you the importance and the security and safety, is no longer there, and you simply feel that you're out of place and everything is gone chaotic. So think a little bit about it and think if you really need that mechanical process to keep your mind in balance, if you really need the orders that you've been conditioned to pursue, if you really need to think the psychological security, illusory psychological security, is coming from mechanical process and the order and so on, which you gain it, but once it's broken through a relationship or through anything that is not as it used to be, then you feel devastated, because then your mind finds itself not complying with any mechanical process anymore. Then it feels, therefore, it doesn't have a norm. It's not sticking to a railroad to continuously move on that, and therefore feels, now I have to be bouncing up and down. It starts going out of whack and finding itself insecure through an illusory psychological security that he thought it gave it security. Give it a little thought, and hopefully there will be something for you to ponder and enjoy. Talk to you later.